What is up, my spooky mates of YouTube? Marcel from Aussie Horror here, and aside from getting this cool hockey mask, also managed to grab a pretty decent amount of stuff from the op shop for only $10 Australian. So we're going to be foraging through the bag, looking at what I picked up. So if that sounds good to you, let's get into the video. Starting things off, from 1940, we have The Invisible Woman. This is actually part of the Invisible Man series, but this film goes into like a screwball comedy direction with a little bit of sci-fi rather than like an outright horror creep fest. It's more played for laughs than the other movies in the series that are, you know, about a madman basically. So it's a decent movie, and I only got it for like, 25 cents, if that, total. So pretty good deal, and the condition is actually pretty phenomenal. I mean, look at that. Was this even watched? There is not a scratch on the disc. An absolutely stunning pickup for the price. Next up is another new and sealed copy of Gone Girl on DVD. I actually own this one already, this exact copy of the movie, but I also found another exact copy of this at the op shop not too long ago, a few months ago, which was also new and sealed. So maybe somebody had like, a backlog of Gone Girl movies. Like, I pre-ordered it. This is obviously new and sealed condition. It's a great movie with great performances, one of David Fincher's best in my opinion. For less than $1, it is a great pickup. Next is Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring on Blu-ray. This was marked at $1, but I think I got it for 50 cents. Didn't have a look at the quality of the disc though. Could be scratched to shreds. I mean, there's a couple of specks of dust on it, but apart from that, it's like, was this even watched? Now, from memory, I remember listening to the Red Cow Arcade podcast. That's one of my favorite podcasts. They were saying in the podcast that the older Blu-rays of The Fellowship of the Ring are much better than the newer Blu-rays. Like the color grading on the newer Blu-rays of The Lord of the Rings, especially the expanded editions, I think, is really off, and they don't look true to how the film actually looked. So do your research on things. Like, you'd think that you could just go buy a DVD and be experiencing the exact same film that you would see in the cinema as it was. But the reality is a lot of these movies end up getting warped and twisted when they put them on home video. So we've got to like stand up against that a little bit. Anyways, this is a great pickup for the price. Let's do a book now. Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice. I mean, this is an older copy, but I think this is the third. Goes Interview with the Vampire, Vampire Lestat, and then Queen of the Damned. I may have actually already picked up another copy of this in the in one of these op shop hauls that I've done, but you can generally sell these for like $15, and I managed to get it for $1 instead of the $2, which it's labeled as. Not bad, eh? Here's one that I picked up to send friend of the channel and actually my podcast mate Mary, Dark Roots by Kate Kennedy. I was reading the blurb of the book and I was like, this is like up her alley. I'll like mail this to her. Or actually, I'll give it to her in person. In these sublimely sophisticated tales, Kate Kennedy opens up worlds of finely observed detail. Her stories are populated by people at tipping points in their lives, moments that find them poised between a familiar past and an unfamiliar future. In The Testosterone Club, a neglected wife plans an unsavory revenge on her boorish husband. In Resize, a married couple realize that two tight wedding rings may symbolize wider aspects of their relationship. And in Cold Snap, a young boy senses that the newly arrived tree changer may have some sinister intents. Heartbreaking, evocative, and richly comic, Dark Roots unveils the traumas that incite us to desperate measures and the coincidences that drive our lives. I don't know, there's something about that I just thought you'd really love, and I picked it up. Maybe this will sound appealing to you, in which case, pick it up. Or maybe ask one of us to borrow it for a couple of weeks. Let's go back to movies now. Here is a 2-pack, a DVD double feature, which means the quality is going to be trash, but we love that. This is a 2-pack between Buried Alive and They Crawl. Interesting, one of them's about bugs and one of them's about being buried alive. Look at this. Mickey Rourke is in They Crawl. I wonder how much they paid him for that. And then I love it how it actually, I only just noticed this, it says 2 great movies. Can you just call a movie great? I suppose you can, considering it's subjective. Buried Alive, Jennifer Jason Leigh, she's a fantastic actress. So They Crawl, when his brother Brian is killed under mysterious circumstances, Ted Gage teams with beautiful detective Gina O'Bannon to unravel the mystery. To their horror, they soon realize that the killer who is terrorizing the city isn't human after all, but a rampaging pack of genetically mutated super roaches. That sounds like the greatest movie of all time. They're out for blood, but who is controlling the roaches? After investigating further, Ted finds that his brother was involved in scientific research for the military. To make matters worse, bodies start turning up all over the city. Is it a revival of a cult or a military experiment gone awry? When their only lead turns up dead, Ted and Gina are left to solve the mystery of their own. I wonder how much Mickey Rourke's in this. He's probably in this for like 2 minutes total. And then Buried Alive. Tim Matheson and Jennifer Jason Leigh star in this gripping thriller that keeps you on the edge of your seat until the final frame. Clint Goodman enjoys the simple life he's created in the small town where he grew up. However, his wife Joanna yearns for a more glamorous existence and begins an affair with the local doctor who offers her a sinister but seemingly perfect way out. But the illicit couple's insatiable greed produces some grave consequences that lead to a heart-pounding conclusion in this engrossing suspense. Interesting. Look forward to watching them. Let's do another book now. Here is another copy of Anne Rice's The Vampire Lestat. We've got Queen of the Damned. It's funny because it's not very often you actually find a copy of Interview with the Vampire. I've seen plenty of copies of The Vampire Lestat at the op shops, and I've seen plenty of copies of Queen of the Damned, but I never find any Interview with the Vampire. I have my own personal copy, but yeah, it's just cool that you can still find these books hovering around. It just goes to show you that before Twilight, before 50 Shades of Grey, you've had the popular vampire books. You know, True Blood, Vampire Diaries, they all owe such a huge debt to Anne Rice and her novels. And obviously she owes a debt to Bram Stoker and Dracula. Here's another movie, not a horror movie, but a fantastic movie that I'm pretty sure I didn't already own, so I'm actually going to keep this one for myself. This is The Squid and the Whale by Noah Baumbach. These sorts of like almost mumblecore independent films were a guilty pleasure of mine quite a few years ago, and I think they always will be, just because there's something about that sort of slice of life genre that I really appreciate, like the Puffy Chair and, you know, the Duplass Brothers, and those movies just appeal to me so much. Here is a 10 movie pack that I got for $2. Night at the Movies, and I'll read you out the titles of the movies. The Fabulous Dorseys, Cyrano de Bergerac, The Painted Hills, Life with Father, Second Chorus, Anna Karenina, Shock, Fire Over England, DOA, and Angel on My Shoulder. I mainly got this for Shock with Vincent Price. I may have seen it already, but here's the discs here. I had all the discs. I was expecting all of them to be missing, but all of them are included here, which is really cool. And none of them had any scratches on them or anything like that. $2 for 10 movies. It's a no-brainer, honestly. Into the Wilderness. This is another book. This is a huge tome. In all honesty, I'm a huge fan of the Outlander series, and Into the Wilderness, when I was reading the synopsis on the back, it gave me the exact same vibes that the Outlander series did, and it's a pretty lengthy tome, and I'm a sucker for a massive book, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out. I'm hoping that it's just as engaging. I mean, the author of the Outlander series even wrote like a little puff piece here. One of those rare stories that let you breathe the air of another time and leave your footprints on the snow of a wild, strange place. That's the exact sort of like purple flowery language that's in the Outlander series. I don't know. I'm a sucker for these sort of like historical almost romancy sort of books. And I'm gonna cover these three quickly before I get onto like the main event. Lost in Translation. Managed to get this one for 50 cents. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Let's have a look at the quality of the disc. Basically brand new. It was an ex-rental, I think. Yep. If you haven't seen Lost in Translation, I highly recommend it. Another copy of La La Land on DVD. I only picked up this one to sell it, because they still sell for 15 to 20 bucks. And the Da Vinci Code on Blu-ray, which I already own on Blu-ray. But this one's new and sealed, so picked it up to resell it. You've got to sort of make your money back doing these somehow. And now onto the main attraction. For $1, I got the original trilogy of Urban Legend. Now, it is not a great trilogy, and from memory, Final Cut, the second movie, was better than the first one. Sort of like, similar to the Final Destination series, I guess, but not really. But for $1, what a deal. Look at the gooey, gory picture on the back here. Never actually seen the third one, Bloody Mary. Oh, maybe I have. I think I have, actually. But yeah. Director of Pet Sematary, Mary Lambert. That's pretty cool. The Urban Legend series sort of like died with a whimper, but maybe we'll see it come back. If you want to see like me review all three of these movies, let me know and I will. I already own this 3-pack, but for $1 I couldn't help but pick it up when I saw it in there. I'm like, alright, this is good enough for me to make an entire video on, basically. So this is the main event, the main attraction, if you will. Anyways, let me know in the comments below what you've been picking up from the op shop lately. I think I ended up spending, you know, a total of 10 bucks here. And there were a couple of books that I didn't bother showing off. I picked up one from Richard Dawkins that I want to give a mate of mine. And The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, which I already own, but I'm going to resell anyway. But if you like this video, don't forget to like it. Subscribe to the channel if you like my content. And until the next video, my name is Marcel from Aussie Horror, and I'll catch you guys around.